The Sermon on the Mount, a Kingdom Living Guide.
Word had spread like wildfire about the carpenter's son from Nazareth, who spoke with such authority, whose touch brought healing, whose gaze held a depth that stirred the soul, was in town. Now a vast crowd had gathered, including fishermen, curious townspeople, worried mothers clutching their children, and even a few skeptical Pharisees, their brows furrowed with a mixture of intrigue and suspicion. Jesus, seeing the multitude, sought a quieter place. On a gentle slope overlooking the Sea of Galilee, he sat down to teach with his disciples, clustering around him, eager to learn. When he sat down, the crowd naturally settled below, their eyes fixed on him, a silent plea for wisdom and hope hanging in the warm breeze. He began to speak, his voice carrying with a clarity that cut through the murmur of the crowd. His words were unlike any they had heard before, not the dry pronouncements of the scribes, but vibrant pronouncements that resonated deep within their hearts.
"Blessed are the poor in spirit,"
he began, and everywhere was quiet. The wealthy merchants shifted uncomfortably, while the humble laborers leaned in, a flicker of understanding in their eyes.
"For theirs is the kingdom of heaven."
He continued, saying,
"Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted."
Tears welled in the eyes of those who had lost loved ones, a sense of solace washing over their grief. Then he went on to say,
"Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth."
His blessings continued, each one a surprising twist on the world they knew. He spoke of hunger for righteousness, of mercy, of purity of heart, of peacemaking, and even of the strange blessing that came with persecution for doing what was right. His words painted a picture of a different kind of power, a kingdom built not on might, but on humility, compassion, and a deep connection to something beyond themselves. Then he shifted his focus, his eyes holding a steady intensity.
"You are the salt of the earth,"
he declared. The fishermen, familiar with the preserving power of salt, understood. They were meant to bring flavor and prevent decay in the world.
"But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again?"
he questioned. He continued saying,
"You are the light of the world."
Explaining further, he said,
"A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven."
In a reassuring and challenging way, he addressed the law, the very foundation of their religious life.
"Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them."
He then began to illustrate this, his voice rising and falling with the weight of his message.
"You have heard that it was said to the people long ago, 'You shall not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment.' But I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment."
He spoke of reconciliation and the need to resolve conflict before it escalates into something deadly. He moved on to adultery, explaining that it is not just the physical act, but the very lustful thought that took root in the heart. He spoke of the sanctity of marriage, challenging the casualness of divorce. He addressed the taking of oaths, urging them to attain a level of honesty that their simple yes or no would be enough. He then delivered a radical teaching on retaliation.
"You have heard that it was said, 'Eye for eye and tooth for tooth.' But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also.
Gasps rippled through the crowd. This was not the way of the world, the ingrained instinct for revenge. He further urged them to love their enemies and pray for those who persecuted them.
For if you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect.
The next part of his teaching focused on their acts of devotion. He cautioned them against performing righteous deeds simply to be seen by others, whether it was giving to the needy with a flourish, praying loudly in public, or making a show of fasting. He pointed that true piety should be a matter of the heart, a quiet communion with God. He then taught them how to pray, offering them words that were simple yet profound, a prayer that spoke of God's kingdom, their daily needs, forgiveness and protection from evil. It was a prayer that resonated with the deepest longings of their souls. He turned to the anxieties that plagued their daily lives, worries about food, clothing, and the future.
Do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes?
Using the example of the birds of the air, the lilies of the field, he reminded them of God's care for even the smallest of his creation. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. His tone shifted as he addressed the tendency to judge others.
Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you.
He spoke of the absurdity of focusing on a speck of sawdust in someone else's eye, while ignoring the plank in their own. He encouraged them to persistent prayer.
Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives. The one who seeks finds. And to the one who knocks, the door will be opened.
He used the simple analogy of a father who would never give his child a stone when they asked for bread. Then came a powerful summary, a guiding principle for all their interactions.
So, in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you, for this sums up the law and the prophets.
He warned them of the choices before them, the narrow gate that led to life, often difficult and less traveled, and the wide gate that led to destruction, seemingly easy, but ultimately leading to ruin. He cautioned them against false prophets, those who appeared harmless but whose teachings were deceptive, comparing them to wolves in sheep's clothing, whose true nature would be revealed by their fruit. Finally, he spoke of the importance of action, not just words.
Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven.
He described two builders, one who built his house on a solid rock foundation, able to withstand the storms, and another who built on sand, whose house would inevitably collapse. As Jesus finished speaking, a profound silence fell over the crowd. They had never heard anything like this. His words were not just teachings. They were a way of life, a radical call to a different kind of existence. The authority with which he spoke was undeniable, unlike the hesitant interpretations of their own teachers. They left the mountainside that day, not just having heard a sermon, but having glimpsed a new way of being, a kingdom of heaven that began not in some distant future, but within the very fabric of their present lives. The seeds of change had been sown, and the world would never be quite the same.